Hello and welcome to the Ideal Nutrition Podcast. My name is Aidan and I am here with a new co-host.
Hello everybody, I'm so excited to be here.
So we are here today with Torwen Eerkens, who has been with Ideal Nutrition for just over 6 months now.
Yeah, just about that. Yeah.
So she's a new co-host and we will be doing a bunch of episodes going forward. In terms of where we're starting, we're going to be starting with a bit of an interview format today. And I don't know where I want to start with this. Actually, the first thing I do want to start with is you have a Dutch last name.
I do. So I am actually completely Dutch. Yeah, I speak Dutch. I was born in the Netherlands. My whole family is there. So yes, I am Dutch.
Yeah, incredible. So you speak Dutch at home?
Yes, I do.
And you've told me that you also speak French.
I do. It's a bit of an interesting story, but I did French immersion at school. So I did all my subjects from 8 to 10, all in French.
8 to 10, yeah, okay. Did you have to, because I've got a bunch of questions on that, did you have to do English still?
That was the only one. English, and I think there was one other, like our elective or something like that.
Yeah. And how did they start? How did they start with the French stuff? Like when you first walked into, I don't know, science class or math start, like how did they start with all that?
Some of us had never spoken French before, so we sat the chairs up in this big circle and we genuinely went through the numbers, and it was supposed to be grade 8 maths. So slowly, very slowly.
Did that have any impact, you think, when you went into year 11?
I think so. I became very close with that small class, but also felt a bit freeing potentially. Like everything felt so much easier as soon as we dropped the French.
Yeah, incredible. And you've been to the Netherlands?
I have.
Yeah.
We used to go back all the time. I was supposed to have a gap year in Europe after school, but that never really happened. But yeah, I've been back heaps of times.
Yeah. What about France?
We did an exchange there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, spent some time with a French family, went to French school. It was very cool.
Yeah, incredible. And obviously going through the end of school, you then went on to study dietetics. I think you said you didn't have a gap year because of COVID.
So I did end up having a gap year, but I ended up working instead of traveling, which probably wasn't the worst thing. But I completely did a bit of a 180 with what I initially was going to do after school.
Yeah, what was the original plan?
I deferred law and business, which I think I saw myself as a bit of a corporate girl. But then, I ended up meeting a dietitian when I was working out in Longreach. We got on great. She told me a lot about dietetics and I thought, that sounds like it's it for me. Yeah. Yeah,
incredible. And I don't think I introed this well, but I think obviously the goal of this episode today is just like get to know you, and then going on into the next ones, we'll go back into like normal podcast format of just like getting straight into the content. Somebody gave me feedback the other day where they said they listened to every podcast that we'd ever done going backwards in order. And they're like, I have to go back like 200 podcasts to find one where you guys talked about yourself. So this will be the first and only one for a long time, I reckon.
Oh, I think so. But it'd be nice for everyone to, get to know me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So that leads into like why dietetics. One of them is that you met a dietitian, but I feel like there's more here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I always considered healthcare. I think dietetics is that great balance of it's patient-centered, you're using science and evidence-based as well. And you can also help people a lot with their well-being, performance, so many things. So that was one part of it for me. And then, life is pretty crazy. And I ended up getting diagnosed with celiac disease myself after I decided to do dietetics. So that happened. And then I realized just how much of an impact food could make. And I thought, this is definitely it.
Yeah. And you've shared before your experience in terms of seeing a dietitian. And obviously, I think every dietitian has a base level understanding of celiac disease. I don't think many specialize in it. My mum has celiac disease, so obviously I've grown up in a gluten-free household, had a bit of familiarity before that. But I think I've seen like 1 or 2 clients in my life who came in for celiac disease. And that would therefore mean like I'm obviously not a specialist in that space, but yeah, what was that experience like and what did that make you want to do with your career?
Yeah, look, unfortunately I had a pretty average experience with my dietitian. It was very much take these celiac disease handouts and off you go, good luck with it. And I never addressed a few things that now I think are so important whenever I see celiac clients to address long-term gut health, their nutrition, like nutritional deficiencies, anything like that. So it definitely made me very aware, and I definitely wanted to work in the space or somewhat in the space, not solely celiac disease. I think there's so many other things out there as well, but I do love supporting celiac clients as well.
Yeah. And it makes me think of the whole like going above and beyond type of thing. It's easy to do handouts and stuff like that, but it also is another thing I see with kind of specializing more in any area because you know all these like tips and tricks and other things that will help anybody with like a new diagnosis of something.
100%. And then it's also just the fact that, look, you can relate. And I think being relatable is always, makes that experience so much better for a client too.
Yeah. And then, so you studied, you graduated, you did placements and anything like that. Is there anything interesting in placement? I wasn't going to go in that direction, but is there anything interesting in placement?
Yeah, look, a few things. I actually did a pediatric placement. I really enjoyed it. So I think I'm open to working with peds in the future. I really enjoyed that side of things. But I also knew at the same time hospital dietetics probably wasn't it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't know if I've shared on this story, or on this podcast, but I had a really bad experience on my hospital placement. I had somebody who was in the last 5 weeks of their job as my supervisor, and I just don't think she wanted to be there.
It makes such a difference, hey?
Yeah, I feel like she also didn't like me, which is fair enough. I'm not for everybody, but like the combination of those two, like she would like send me out on the wards to like read client notes and then have me page her. Crazy in 2015 that people still use pages, but have me page her when I was ready for her to come and see like a patient or something like that. And then she'd just like find a flaw in what I found in my like notes or whatever. And then she'd tell me to fix the flaw and she'd like walk off. And then she'd come back and she'd be like, lunchtime now. I'm like, it's 12 p.m. and I've done nothing.
You want to see a patient.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think, placement's so determined by how invested your supervisor is. So
yeah. But I was pretty open-minded, but I don't think I really ever wanted to work in a hospital. But that experience kind of made me be like, I don't even know if I could. Like, I don't even know if I'm equipped to work in a hospital after that because I just don't have experience. Then after placement, so this is your first job out of uni. I obviously know this, but how did we get connected?
it's funny because I get this, I actually get asked this often, especially by dietetic students that are a few years younger than me. And look, let's start with the start. I started my own nutrition Instagram when I was at uni. I know that you value that. You are obviously massive in the Instagram dietetic space, but I kind of hadn't been posting much towards the end of my placement. And yeah, you and Sammy had both posted stories about doing an internship for the Runner's Blueprint. And my friends had sent it to me and were like, this would suit you so fantastically. So I sent Sammy a message and I guess, yeah, we got connected that way and it kind of went from there.
Yeah, incredible. And who sent it to you? Just out of my curiosity.
Like friends that were completely unrelated, actually, not even dietetic students. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So something that like tipped us over towards hiring you, of all people, was Shale. Yeah. Like I was just like at a run club thing and Shale was like, yeah, Torwen's good.
Oh, no way.
I was like, okay.
So that's funny because I was in Roma doing placement with his girlfriend.
Yeah. So that's the connection there. But yeah. Anyway, and obviously on our end, so like internships are hard, and something that I have very little patience for personally is when something is like a low return on investment type of thing, and then I have to spend heaps of time teaching people how to do it, telling people what to do, et cetera, you obviously just did stuff and it was good. That's what I want.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, and I think, look, after that, and if people are curious how then I started working with Ideal, did that internship. I know you had advertised for a gastro dietitian. Heard through the grapevine that maybe you hadn't found the person you were looking for, and yeah, we went for coffee and I kind of pitched myself, I guess. And yeah. For me, I don't think we'll do anything with this for ages, but at that time I saw a huge gap in the market for any kind of IBS specialist dietitian, gut health dietitian. And my original vision was, how do we get somebody who all of their content is just on that? How do we do social media related stuff? I've seen so many people do well in that space, and I'm like, I think we could do that for sure. But even in your case, I don't think that's what I want us to do in your case. Even from the podcast perspective, I want us to be broad and everything like that. 100%.
But yeah, I still think there's a huge space for that. It's so hard hiring people. I've come across this so much recently with even stuff like women's health. I would love a women's health dietitian. We have one now as well, of course, but it's so hard to find multiple. Like you'd think it would be easy to find heaps of people specializing in that space because there's such a need for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Then how has working at Ideal been?
It's been great. I've honestly really, really enjoyed it so far. Look, everyone looks up to Ideal in the dietetics industry. It's obviously hard to know what it's like if you don't work there, but I'd say it's honestly very much the same. Like it's so inspiring. Everyone knows a lot, is available to have a chat to. I think it's been fantastic and I've really enjoyed it so far. Huge.
Best marketing we've got, to be honest. I feel like we don't talk about it heaps to other dietitians. But that's fine. So what has been the most interesting so far, whether that's working with clients or just general like social media, anything? Where do you want to go with that?
It's been a bit of a balancing act, hey? So I've very much enjoyed the client side of things. Like I said, I'm doing a bit of gastro, but I'm also seeing other athletes, people in women's health, weight loss, like a bit of everything. So I've really enjoyed that side of things. And I know that the client side has always been something that I really do enjoy. But yeah, being able to then balance it with a bit of creativity in social media, that's been really cool.
Yeah. I obviously believe this, but I think dietetics can be so hard if you just see clients back to back to back to back forever.
Oh yeah.
It's hard. And I have said to a lot of people that I noticed early in my career, not many dietitians are seeing clients in 5 years' time from when they graduate. And it really got me thinking about why is that the case? One reason I think is just money. Maybe they're not earning enough or it's hard to find jobs. Like it is just hard to find jobs. Another one is maybe they're just not enjoying the work. Maybe it's not like what they thought, which is obviously fair enough. Another one, whether it's burnout or whether it's just doing the same thing over and over and over, is a huge one. And that's the biggest thing I wanted to solve for myself. I graduated in 2016 and I'm still enjoying seeing clients. And so for me, that's a huge success in my mind, because if 5 years is the mark to beat and I'm almost 10 and I still enjoy it, that's incredible. And I think the biggest thing for how I enjoy it is balancing it with social media stuff.
Yeah, being able to do other things. And I think a lot of the ideal dietitians would agree with you on that. If we were seeing clients 5 days a week with no other form of outlet, it becomes a whole different ballgame. So no, I would 100% agree with you there.
Yeah. And I don't even think it necessarily needs to be social media. I think it just needs to be something different. The fact that it's something creative, I think, helps.
And we've spoken about this before, but it is funny that a lot of dietitians are very creative, whereas dietetics itself is quite a sciencey sort of based career. So it's interesting.
Yeah, there's many things that are interesting about that. I won't say on the podcast, but there's a lot of thought about with that. But now we'll go through any interesting client experiences so far.
I've had a few. Look, I talk a lot about poo or stools, consistency, colour, all of that in my practice. And I actually had a client who offered to send me photos of their stool so that I could take a look for myself and see what that was looking like. And that was probably, look, we had a great laugh about it, and I kindly declined the offer. I said she can describe it to me, but that was pretty funny. Yeah,
classic gut health dietitian things.
Have you had any like that, or anything that you think?
Not really. Kind of on that like surprising front. This isn't the most interesting. It's actually just the first thing that like comes to my mind. Often when I'm talking to clients, I will talk about how, like, say we're talking about like we're looking to see if somebody is at risk of like relative energy deficiency, or say with women specifically, say are they at risk of being too lean, or like they might have lost their period or anything like that, and say they're on contraception, we can't tell if they're losing their period or anything like that. Sometimes I'll say a line like, I can't really tell over, because I see a lot of people online, I can't really tell over Zoom like how lean you are or anything like that. One person just like got up and they're like stripped down a little bit, showed their body, and they're like, oh, that's what I look like. And I was like, I rate that confidence.
Perfect. At least then you can see for yourself, right?
Yeah. And I'm friends with that person to this day. And like, it's so funny that like in our first consult, she was just like, this is what I look like. It's like, okay.
Talk about rapport building, getting straight into it.
Yeah, well, now I know. Most people on our team are obviously into some form of sports, and I just like that through the lens. Through a few angles, I think it's easier to prescribe nutrition stuff when you're also pursuing a pursuit yourself. What are your athletic pursuits?
Yeah, that's a great question. If we're talking about recently, training has potentially been a bit slack. I've been injured, dislocated a shoulder, that sort of thing. But in terms of my training pursuits, I do like triathlons. Probably the cycling has been the big thing for me. I really enjoy that. I'm actually doing a 160k ride this weekend, so that'll be fantastic. But yeah, I'm also keen to, I think, focus on my own potentially body composition a bit more as well. Yeah. Really keen to put on a bit of muscle. So that's probably where the next goals will be going.
How much are you gymming at the moment?
Probably 3 to 4 times a week, pretty consistently. And then, the endurance side of things has fallen off a little bit. Yeah,
because I've scrolled back on your Instagram, I've seen like heaps of gym content.
Way back when I felt okay filming.
Yeah. So now our last thing we'll kind of wrap up on is a bit of a combined one. So what's our goal with the podcast? Who wants to go first?
I think you take this, yeah.
I'll go first. Have you got a goal?
I definitely do.
Okay, I'll do my one first. So I would say my goal is that I want to put out simple nutrition information covering a range of topics. I want it to be more comprehensive than basic nutrition content, going a little bit deeper, but I also want it to be easier to understand than something that is super science heavy. I'm not trying to be the best at any of these things, but I think there is a middle ground in somewhere all of that I think people can get value from, and that's all I'm trying to do. Obviously, this is a job for me as well. Like, this is my business, this is what I do for work. But I view this type of stuff through the lens of the absolute flaw, like the bottom, is that if people listen to this, hopefully they get some form of value from it. And I like that. I like that if I put out heaps of free information, and if there are many people out there who never take any form of action in relation to this business, if I've helped somebody, I'm like, that's sick. And that comes back to the whole like enjoying this job for more than 5 years or whatever. The ceiling, though, is that obviously this drives traffic towards Ideal Nutrition. There's a reason we have 15 dietitians, and the content side of things is part of it. So like the floor is that I just feel good. The ceiling is that this helps the business. There's no real goal behind those things, which I like because it's something that keeps it really broad, allows me to kind of follow my interests, talk about the things that I want to talk about, and ensure that I keep enjoying the process without getting caught up in like outcomes, certain metrics or anything like that.
Yeah, and look, Aidan, you're being extremely humble here. I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say that your free content has helped more than just that one person. But I'd agree with you there. I 100% think that giving that evidence-based lens, especially when there is so much misinformation out there, but breaking it down so it's practical, it's simple, people can understand. That's exactly where my goal with this would be as well.
Yeah, incredible. Cool. Well, I'll wrap up on this then. So this has been episode 220 of the Ideal Nutrition podcast. One thing I would massively appreciate is if anyone wants to support in any way is to please leave ratings and reviews. I know I ask this every episode, but the reason why I ask it every episode, and I really want to push it right now, is because it does help so much. There have been times I've put on my Instagram story just asking me like, hey, if you want to help out in any way, this is the thing that would really help me and I'd massively appreciate it. And we've got a bunch of reviews in a single day, and we've gone from like 50 on the podcast charts to like number 3 in a single day.
That's crazy.
We see download numbers go through the roof. So like I massively appreciate it. So if you do that, it would really help both Torwen and myself. But apart from that, thank you for listening.